But the way that it came so slowly and gradually that we didn't even know what was happening to us until it was too late. And the way he described it is, you know, if when Hitler came to power, if he had all of a sudden went to the gas chambers and the concentration camps and everything, we would have rebelled. There would have been a rebellion. We would have stopped it, but it didn't happen that way. It didn't happen in 1933. It happened gradually. And what happened is, the way he described it is, first there would come step A. And step A in and of itself might not have been too bad. A lot of us didn't like it, but it wasn't enough to rebel. And you know, people would talk and they'd talk themselves into it, think, well, we can live with this. And they came to accept it. And then along came step B. And step B was only a little bit worse than step A. It wasn't a lot worse than step A. And, you know, if we didn't rebel at step A, well, why should we rebel at step B? And on to step C, and on to step D, and so on and so forth. And while I'm not arguing there's an exact historical parallel here, there rarely are exact historical parallels, there are some disturbing ones with what's happening in our country today. I mean, look at where we have come and where we are today. We now live in the most militarized state and militarized economy in history. The nightmare military-industrial complex that President Eisenhower tried to warn us about years ago, rivaled only by and supplemented by the prison-industrial complex that Brother Jared Ball talked about so eloquently last night in downtown Chicago, for those of you who heard him. As we are also the most incarcerated people, percentage-wise, in the industrialized world today.
That's in the whole world.
Yeah, well,
in the whole world, not just industrialized countries.
All right, I'll take that as a thank you. That's a correction. It used to be just the industrialized world. Now it's the whole world. Probably exceeds Myanmar and everything else.
Yes, it does.
We also have a government that, at least at the federal and state level, is almost completely under the controlling influence of giant transnational corporations, banks, and insurance companies. And I would remind you of Benito Mussolini's definition of the first stage of fascism being, in effect, a partnership or marriage between corporations and government. Well, I'd submit to you, ladies and gentlemen, we're somewhere past the first stage. I don't know where we're at, but we're definitely cleared that one. And on top of that, corporate welfare taken to new extremes, where our taxpayer dollars are being used to subsidize these corporations, and they commit all these evil deeds subsidized by us. And the executive branch has gradually become more powerful, and this has occurred under both Democratic and Republican administrations, although it has accelerated under the current one. Now it spies on American citizens with no warrants, while hiding more of its own dirty secrets from the public, tortures, imprisons without due process, lies to the people, steals from the public treasury, and engages us in disastrous illegal wars with virtually no congressional checks or oversight, no meaningful ones anyway. What this experience tells us is that this is not simply a matter of the Democratic Party disappointing us when they held the presidency or when they retook the Congress in 2006. The Democratic Party, being the other corporate-sponsored party, are part of the trend. Individual Democrats may buck the trend here and there, but overall the trend is unmistakable. Take one example, the FISA courts that everyone is concerned about today and is currently being debated. Have we forgotten that in the 1990s, civil libertarians were fighting the proposal of having special courts that would issue warrants without public review or oversight? That was step B, okay? Now we're at step C, and we've forgotten that. We've forgotten it. Now what we're seeing is, now we see the Democrats actually trying to defend the FISA courts because the administration wants to do away with them so they don't have to have any oversight whatsoever. That's step B. This is what's happened. We've already forgotten step B when we're talking about the FISA courts. And that's just one example of the creeping totalitarianism that is coming in this country.